Greetings, my fellow Shek. Rhadamant here. And thank you for tuning in to Kenshi Shek's Conquest, Episode 19, Fat Thief. Two mod changes. One is just I helped the mod maker fix a mod, and then the other one is that I introduced the bed healing, and I had a flash poll before this stream to do that. The very quick recap of last stream, more or less would be, at the end of the stream, we went a little bit south into Shark and the other swamp villages to try to hunt swamp turtles. To no avail, because swamp turtles honestly aren't in the swamp. It's a misnomer. They're more in the south wetlands. And we just didn't go south far enough. We didn't have enough time to trek that far south. But we did, however, start a hemp farm. So we have this little hemp farm here, which is going to be important because a lot of our clothing is going to come from fabrics driven from hemp. So there's two types. There's cotton and there's hemp. And I just decided to go with hemp. Hemp can also be processed into hashish, which is a drug that you can smuggle into cities. And you can even be hired out by the swampers down here to do some of that smuggling. Byron, thanks for the gifted subs. Mako and Turtonator. Tora, thank you for the bits as well. Right at the start here, I am going to get everybody sort of situated. And then we're going to have a poll very shortly thereafter about what everybody is going to be setting our focus for today. So I have a lot of options in my mind that are, going to be polled for you all. Because we're finally getting to the point where we have some options. We can depart from the permanent struggle bus and start to make interesting tactical decisions here. Which should be very interesting, I think. I might even raise the music up even more. I'm going to see how terrible that is. If it becomes overwhelming, I will fix it. So for right now, what I'm going to try to do is to obtain some food so that everybody can eat. That's going to be one important thing to do before we really set out to do anything else. The Shek have a hunger rate higher than everybody else's hunger rate, all the other species. So they're hungry all the time, and our swamp turtle hunt sort of yielded nothing, unfortunate. But that's just how it goes sometimes. It looks to me like Sharp Point's nearly out of copper, and then the Iron Plates box is running a little low as well. Of course, our food is dismal, so we're going to have to fix that. And in order to do so, I need to buy some food and shove it into the barrels that I've supplied. And I'll start buying books as well. Hopefully we'll be able to unlock some additional research. And that is going to be part of the... that's going to be part of the poll today, is what our focus will be. So, Rockfin, let me see what I can queue up with that one book. Probably... Let's research corpse disposal. It's literally free. And research imprisonment. I don't know. We might want to imprison people. Who knows? Alright. Kang, you, my friend, you are going to go errand running with the 2 cats that I currently have to my name. That's a little rough, but we'll aim to fix that by moving around some resources and doing a little bit of industry. So the rest up is in beds and camp beds. So the camp rolls that you can build, these camp beds, still have half the heal rate of a regular bed, but all of them doubled. So basically a camp bed becomes a regular bed, and a regular bed becomes twice as strong. So that would be sort of the way to analyze it. I feel like everything is quiet today. Oh, well, we'll see how loud this music becomes. Oops, wrong direction. So I'm just dropping off resources. How did that happen? Did Sharp Point, ninja steal? Wow, he ninja stole it. Holy moly. I was, that's impressive. I put in 9 copper and he immediately grabs it. Like a remote grab, and just deposits it. Alright, so here's 2 more books, and then any proceeds here on out are going to go to food. So let's say makeshift walls would be good research to get if we're going to have base building anytime. And Another thing I might be able to do is to strip down these guys for whatever sort of resources they have. Thornbat, thanks for the sub. And Dennis Keith, thanks for the bits. All right, so let's go for that poll. I did sort of tease that you all would have, you early birds would have an option to vote in these polls. So here's the big poll, and let me read it off for you. Number 1, search the world for additional recruits. So we have scoured, let me pause for a second. We have scoured the Great Desert, United City areas, doubling back just last stream to make sure that we got pretty much all that we could. There are additional United Cities down here that we could search. There are, without spoiling too much, there's some cities here that we could search, although trying to get by the Holy Nation is a little sketchy. And then there's some cities down here. This area is a little bit more dangerous in the world, but there's, you know, cities here, and we could search for recruits. Then option number 2, go swamp turtle hunting. One of the bottlenecks that we've obviously been having is food, and swamp turtles are very easy to hunt and yield a lot of meat. They don't yield any leather, so that wouldn't really help us for our leather armor crafting. We could combat train the Shek for dexterity and athletics, likely beating up dust bandits and hunger bandits and whatever else that is roughly our power level. Are we DBZ? But yeah, roughly our power level. Obtain additional research and engineering. So research and engineering would allow us to, let me go to the research screen, which I am here. So additional research and engineering. Some of these, so up until now, we've just been using regular books to get regular research. But if you see here like a skeleton repair bed, which would help Rockvin's robotic arm, costs engineering research, which is special, much more rare, and sort of somewhat finite. Not truly finite. There's nothing truly like finite about the books in the game, but like roughly finite. And then there are additional research, like going up to tech level 4 would require 4 ancient science books. Ancient science books, again, are rare, like the engineering research. So we could strike out to try to obtain that stuff. And that's a little bit trickier to do. But we could do that. We could do bounty hunting. So probably the best way to do bounty hunting is to go into the United Cities, because they are the only ones we can turn bounties into. Because, of course, we're not turning bounties into the Shek, and we definitely can't turn into bounties into the Holy Nation, because they will just try to kill us. So if we wanted to do bounty hunting, we would have to do bounty hunting around here, attacking sand ninjas and outlaw farmers and turning them in for bounties. It would level up our combat. We could also build up wealth and industry, trying to buy our way into better gear and better armor. Now, I sort of had the feeling like I wanted to make it myself. There's some pride in making your own armor. And then one of the other advantages is if you make your own armor, you can sort of have a uniform. So everybody is wearing roughly the same thing, or at least what is appropriate for their class. So for Poetic, for instance, being a martial artist, it would not be appropriate for him to wear the same gear as everybody else. And we could have different types of gear. Same with Headshot. Headshot being our markswoman, does not make sense for her to wear the same armor as everybody else either. So there is some gear changes to be made class to class. And if you have a character named after you, if you are on this beautiful roster here as one of the owners and you want to specify a weapon preference, feel free to do so. Feel free to @tag me or message a moderator, and we'll get that set up for you. As well as a occupation. So, for instance, Fangface had mentioned that he wanted to perhaps chase down electronics. So that means that Sharp Point up here might be switching jobs with Fangface. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now. And I'm going to try my best to honor people's requests, but, you know, it's Kenshi. It's not going to be perfect. And especially given that we don't... And one of the significant factors of this series is that we do not have the concept of a worker class and a combat class, a warrior class. Everybody does everything. So when everybody is home, it's going to be important that people have their sort of home jobs and their away jobs. Odabe, thank you for the sub. Would it be possible to leave 2 Shek at the nearest high village to collect meat? It would be possible, but it would also possibly be dangerous. There is a lot of meat to be collected from the big things, but anyone standing there could also just as easily be eaten. Oh, great. Hello, dust bandits. I'm going to ignore them and let the ninja guard deal with it, because we're still voting. So there's the poll, and I am happy to honor whatever choices you make. So get voting, and we'll see how that turns out. Let me put a timer on that now. Any tips for base locations for a newbie? So I have definitely picked out a base location for myself, but the base location I have picked out for myself is partially role-playing, because we are Shek. So what I can do for you, and this is what I've told everybody that has asked me this, is here is a link to a very fine set of maps, which helps to determine the fertility, the wind power, the resource scarcities of the zones. One thing I would say is build your base on the border of 2 different biomes. So, for instance, I'll just give you a pure for instance, border zone and swamp. The swamp you can farm swamp plants much more efficiently. It's a lot more fertile, and wells yield a lot more water in the swamp. So you can gain the advantages of 2 different biomes by straddling 2 or even 3 or even 4. I would bother just with the 3. I don't know how many 4 intersections there are. Not many on the map, as you can see. But the intersections of 2 or 3 biomes, keeping in mind that a lot of biomes are very similar. So the difference, for instance, between the Spider Plains and the Sten Desert is very, very little. So you have to find significantly differing biomes like the border zone and the swamp, which are very different from one another, or vein and dreg, or vein and border zone, or, you know, things like that. Some biomes should be avoided, like the acid ones, unless you're a skeleton, or Hiver, because otherwise you'll melt, unless you're wearing the right clothing. And then, in terms of the entire map, this coast up here is a little dangerous. This coast here is somewhat dangerous. This is frighteningly dangerous. And, you know, so avoid sort of the extreme edges of the map, unless you know what you're doing. The sort of safer edges would be the South Hook edge is kind of okay-ish. There are parts east that are safe-ish. The northeast is pretty safe in the Great Desert, you know, if you could avoid getting sniped by the nobles. And then there are parts of, like, Dreg, which are okay-ish, as long as you're not too close to the Berserker country. So Berserker country and the Cannibal Plains gives you a sort of a understanding of what is up there and why you should not wander too much. Alright, so the Dust Bandits up here got totally wiped out, and I have no qualms about looting them for some lunch money. So I'm going to send Kang over to do that, and you guys are wrapping up that vote, and it looks to me like obtaining engineering and ancient research is going to be the priority. So I have 2 different ways that I could do that. And I'll pull for that. How should I obtain research? Through looting or through trade? There's a somewhat finite amount of engineering and ancient science books available through trade, but it's potentially safer. Alright, so here we go. We have the crew that was manning the base up top, throwing down with these dust bandits here. I'm going to quickly take off Rockvin and Kang's backpack so they're not at combat disadvantages. Actually, most of these guys are just hungry bandits, not even dust. There's I think 1 duster. Yeah, there's 1 duster here that's fighting another hungry bandit. And then I'm going to just loot the remainder of them and sell that stuff for some research books. And sell it for food. Banished Puppet and Posse Panda Gigi, thank you for the subs. Can fully have sabers. And is someone a good cook yet? No one is a dedicated cook yet. And yes, you can have sabers. Let me do that. I'm sort of tabbed out. Let's hope that... Now, what kind of sabers? Desert sabers? Foreign saber? I mean, there's a lot of different sabers, and I guess you can just say sabers, and I'll try to honor it as best as I can. But there are a whole bunch of different types of sabers. Alright, Mr. Kang. Alright, Mr. Kang is going to be looting some of these marauding idiots for money. Let's hope the our favorite barman over here is doing well, because there's always the possibility that he isn't. What are you doing, McNauer? Oh, you were going to the can? Sorry to interrupt you. I'll do my best not to do that again. So, I mentioned this in the in some of the YouTube comments, that the next time I find this barman unconscious, I'm going to try to slip armor onto him, so that he's a little bit more resilient. We can also start buying, once I make up a significant amount of money, blueprints for additional weapons, so that I can smith up some weapons. But honestly, katanas are a really good starting weapon to use, because of the sort of game mechanics behind training, the game mechanics behind training dexterity. The way to train your dexterity, ideally, is to use weapons that have very, very low or no blunt damage to sharp damage ratio. So, if we're trying to level up the dexterity of our guys, we're going to want sharp weapons. Orange Chaos, thanks for gifting out. Reverse looting? What do you mean by that? Shh. If you're wondering what through looting means, there are a lot of points of interest in the map that has specialty books, and that's what the through looting would be. And I'm not going to go into more details until you have me do that, because I don't want to spoil anything for people that don't know what that means. Because there might be first-time Kenshi viewers here in the audience. Yoda's being cute. Yeah, he is. I don't know what he's barking at, though. Oh, reverse looting onto the barman? Yeah, so if the barman was unconscious, I could loot him and shove armor onto him. That's what I meant. Sorry if that's what you were inquiring about. Yeah, you can sort of reverse loot an enemy so that they gain whatever you put on them. And I use this trick... Oh, hey, I see you. I used this trick in the past to... Well, I'm not going to spoil that either. Uh-oh, no, stop. I didn't mean to do that. I just gave everyone, other than Kang, move orders. Yeah, I hate when they do that. The best way to reset them is to just tell them to move to some, like, local point, and then they'll go back to work. Look at you crawling away. This is what we call a naughty Shek turned to crime. No 100 Guardian for you. 100 Guardian is like the Shek military class. Alright, I'm not sure I see any more dusters over here being dust bandits. Oh no, there's a few. And I'll hydrate. So it looks like I will be trying to, don't pick them up. I'm going to do my best to loot the books I need. So there's something I need to do before I start that, and I'll explain. So, obtain ancient books and engineering through ruin looting. So in order to understand this, you have to understand the world of Kenshi. The world of Kenshi is definitely post-apocalyptic, and the sort of golden age of Kenshi, when there was science and ingenuity and engineering and all that, that happened way, way before present time. And the reason I'm telling you this is a lot of the science has gone by the way of ruins. So in order to obtain sort of the ancient sciences, the sciences that most of these societies nowadays don't understand, you have to seek out ancient libraries and tech labs and places like that to obtain these rare books to unlock high-tech stuff. Which is why the hub looks like a broken trash heap. Because the world of Kenshi is a broken one, and the people that live in it are broken and backwards in a way. So, yeah. So for us to loot, the first thing I need to do is actually head over to the rebel base. I am going to need to, before I even start looting, research lockpick training. The reason being is, if we want to try to loot a lot of these places, we're going to need to open up locked boxes, and without a decent lockpick, we are just not going to be able to do that. The Cogs, thanks for the resub. Isn't it a post-apocalyptic? Yeah, I would say, yeah, that might be more. It's post-post. There was an apocalypse, and then this is the remnant survivors of that apocalypse, would be a pretty fair and accurate depiction. But that's sort of besides the point. Yes, I do intend for Els to be our lockpick, even though he doesn't have skills in it. He wants to be a thief. And this series isn't going to allow theft the way Elves wants to be a thief. But giving him some lockpicking skills will do just fine. So if we take a look at stats here. Lockpicking 1. Rockvin even has a better lockpicking of 2, but it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, we need a lockpicking in the high teens to be able to do what I want to do. So we need to build lockpick trainers. Right, buddy? We need to build lockpick trainers to be able to get those skills up. But before I even do that, I need to unlock the technology so that I can build the trainers to get Els the knowledge that or capability that he needs to be able to lockpick. So let's prioritize lockpick training as the highest priority. And then Kang, you were going to go on a little bit of a jaunt into the Beak Thing territory to try to buy some fish and books from the hivers. So we have about 8k, just shy of 8k. And I would very much like to spend it on food and the like. What is the main character's name? Rockvin, but he's not really the main character, as he is the rallying cry for Shek to continue Shager's mission. So it's not like if he dies, it's over. It's more like he's just trying to rally a group of people that are all making decisions. And this is the polls that you all submit up top are the group making those decisions. Okay, Kang has some traffic decisions that he can't seem to make. He's pacing now. I'm not going to be joining the Shinobi Thieves. I explained this in the very first stream that it's sort of a broken mechanic, and I almost never use Shinobi trainers for that reason. Or there's other free trainers too. You can go into some police stations in Kenshi and use their free training facilities as well. But I'd rather make it myself for roleplay. Basically, if you see me doing something the hard way, the quickest summary is because roleplay. And I have the roleplay tag on this stream for that exact reason. Oh, rain should not be set. All of them should not be set on passive. So I just took that off. Wow, she is ripping them up. Scribbler and Rappin', thanks for the follow. Yeah, this fight I could basically ignore because it's just a bunch of hungry bandits that are going to get totally annihilated by someone like Rain. Except for Case did get knocked out. So they can land lucky hits every now and then. But this is exactly the type of combat training that I was hoping to have done. Oh, there goes Chemo. Knocked to the head. And I have enough I believe Cowley has... Oh, no, Cowley does not have medicine on him. So Cowley's a pretty good doctor, which is why I meant for him to have meds on him so he could patch people up. So Cowley, I'm going to have you break from this formation here to go grab some med kits from up top. I also need to pay attention to Kang because I'm headed... So far, his portrait hasn't lit up as him being attacked, but this is not a particularly safe place to be. The Hivers win in overwhelming numbers, and the Hiver guards are pretty strong. Let me see if I can find a Hiver guard. No, you're not you're a worker drone. But this is Gorilla and Beak Thing and Landbat country. And the Beak Things are really the ones you have to be wary of. So, let me know if you think this song is blowing at your eardrums. I feel like it's loud but manageable. Because this is one of the soundtrack that was the main offender. No, it's getting pretty loud. But it's still turned down a lot. As you can see, even in the volume slider, previously when this song came on, well, song in air quotes, song, right? I'd have to lower the volume to like 3%. Alright, Mr. King. He's been yelled at by the Hive traders over here for being a thief. Love it. So I bought 4 books and a bunch of dried fish, and this is to feed the rest. Loud but better? It's definitely better. Yeah, it passed. I'm not going to fool around with the volume control too much, because at some point it's like... It is the way it is. This is Kenshi. Ooh, look at this. We're starting to get Cat 1 quality. Very nice. And here Cowley is patching everybody up. Dr. Cowley. And King working his way out of Vane. Vane is a pretty decent place to settle, given its terrain prospects. Green, arid, and swamp all can be grown here. It's just full of beak things, so you need to get perimeter walls and harpoons to deal with them pretty early on, unless you're good at combat. Cat 1, I believe, is the highest until you upgrade, yeah. And you don't want to upgrade early on, and I'll explain why. Oh, hi there. Yeah, you want to trade? I'll sell you a katana. You don't want to upgrade early on because the level 2 weapon bench requires... So let me buy all those fabrics, too. I could turn them into beds. The level 2 weapon bench requires fabrics. So, unless you're making a whole lot of fabrics to make your weapons in, you will grind your progress to a halt. So, for early colonies that don't have significant cotton or hemp fields, Weaponsmith Tier 1 is where it's at. You do that until you can supply the materials to be able to make better tier weapons. How did Kang become a thief? What do you mean? Thievery 0? Oh, why were the Hivers calling King a thief? I don't know, because he was standing there and stealing their time. They're very pushy, but they're never hostile. That's the thing about the Western Hive traders, is they're not all that polite, but they don't attack you, so they're just trying to renew your auto car insurance, is really what it comes down to. And they just do that one thing, and one thing only, continually annoying you about your auto insurance policies. So Kang has food items that I'm delivering down to the shared bucket down here, trying to get everyone fed. Does look like we wiped out a sizable amount of these hungry bandits. Because this is not our permanent base, I don't really care. What happened here? Oh, my... We processed so much iron that they fell behind. Okay, so Jacobot, you are going to switch over to iron mining, not processing. You've never heard the Western Hivers detailed so perfectly? Yeah, they're like car insurance salesmen. You know, they're not going to take a swing at you, but they will absolutely try to fleece you for every penny that you're worth. Dead Dodo, thanks for all the gifted subs. I think we're in the pink light territory now. The love light. Thank you, man. Not attacking is actually quite polite in Kenshi. Yes, most people attack before anything else. In fact, Rockvin and my only safe scums were proof of exactly that. Getting knocked out by royals, by the nobles of the United Cities who were just bored and wanted to shoot me. So that is exactly what they're about. We have 10 more fabric, and I think we have 2 fabric in the... Here, let me check the box downstairs. I believe we have 2 fabric down here as well. Why is our Hungry Bandit in my base? Yeah, so we have 12 total, and that's going to raise our bed up. So let's get some interior beds. So that's... I mean, I hope you can do the math. It's not complicated math, although people do like to insult my math skills. Alright, so King, once he's done fighting, we'll go engineer that, and then I'll grab 3 building materials from down below and finish off these beds so I can quadruple the people up, which is great, especially if we're going to go looting and scooting. And then the other thing I'm going to set up here is Lockpick Training 2. And then we have 2 extra books, so let's research weapon smelting, or melting, I think it's called, and basic exterior lights and searchlights. Cool. Oh, Rockfin's unconscious. It does not help that he's been using his trader's backpack during fights. But I also don't have them... Oh, he got up and immediately cut one down. Good job, man. This is the way to train the toughness. I take off that backpack and he's actually doing pretty well. And there's the leader. This is a little weird. Oh, because you don't have your backpack on. I was going to say, why aren't you patching yourself up first? But, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, Trapper Keeper is going to stop being an engineer. I want them just focusing on weaponsmithing, so I can get katanas in everybody's hands. So let me explain the ×2 reasoning here for the bed recovery. Anything higher, in my opinion, than ×2, maybe ×4, is fast enough that if you are in the middle of a big battle, you can rest, recover, and go back to the battle, which significantly changes the balance of Kenshi. So you can have beds... I mean, there are mods that allows you to have rest efficiency up to, I don't know, 10, 20%, something ridiculous. But there's a lot of problems with that, because it ruins the balance if you can just lay down a second and then be right back into the fight, as if nothing ever happened. So I'm very careful about trying to not tip the scales so heavily that we can act as like functional immortals or whatever. It would be bad. No one wants to see that. Alright, so Fang, how are you doing? So Trapper Keeper has been making these katanas. When he gets lucky in a well-lit environment, he has a chance at the Cat 1s. But I'm going to try to get these refitted blades into everyone's hands, except for Poetics, to train the decks. But the 4 beds do change a whole lot. Yeah, absolutely. Plus the food I grabbed. Not that I have any food left, but it looks... If I do a quick inventory here... Yeah, pretty much everybody in the crew here are fed. Chemo is hurt, and Cowley is a copper miner, so he's too far to know. When you have medic as a job here, you only do that for the people in your immediate vicinity. So he didn't know that Kima was injured. I had to run him over. So once we get these beds up, I plan on getting a... And let's forget this dummy trainer. I don't need that one. I plan on getting a trainer for locksmith. And it looks like this. But I'm going to wait until we have level 2 unlocked. So that we jump straight to the level 2. And I'll do my best to try to get moving according to our goals. So that is my iron, plates. Let's grab the copper, bring this all back. And then I'll go for the building materials. I'm just making sure that my industries do not halt. They were out of materials just about. Theodore Osmosis. That's what it is. Thank you for the follow. And Code Monkey, thank you for the follow as well. I'm starting to look like a purplish Shek here, aren't I? Let me fix that. Go back to the normal. Makes me yellowish, like I've jaundice. Alright, so this is enough bed materials to finish off this construction project, and then I can grab what I need to build the locksmith, the lockpick, in just a minute. So here's the training box for level 2, 4 iron plates, and I'll stick it here so whoever is, you know, I scratch that. I'm going to stick it next to a light source down here so that we train more effectively. And that will be my next build project. So that Els can stop what he's doing. He's no longer doing the stone processing. And he is going to train to be our lockpick. Because he is the only one in our group with any sort of understanding of stealth and thievery. So it makes sense for him to be the lockpick too. He's a little hurt, but I don't think he's a hurt in a way that's going to affect his training skill. So let me hold left shift to force him to queue that up as a permanent job. And now he's going to be training his lockpicking. And this can train you up to level 20, but it becomes harder and harder the closer to level 20 that you get. Just to keep that in mind. Is anyone training in frag axes? We're not strong enough to even wield the worst possible frag axe. So no one is training in that right now. Everybody's going to be training in non-strength weapons for now. Including Ruka, who has obviously a large blunt at the moment. This thing does more blunt damage than cutting damage, which is bad for dexterity training. So I'm going to try to focus on that a little bit. The biggest guy is the sneakiest guy? Yeah. And by far, too. But I don't know, there's some truth to that. You know? Like, if everybody knows that the shinobi thieves are, like, fit and thin, no one's gonna look twice at a, you know, overweight glutton as a thief. No one's gonna expect that as a possibility, right? It's gonna take everyone by surprise. Alright, so he's training up, and I, like I said, need to get him in the high teens. He's at 3 now, which is higher than everybody else already. So I need to get him to the high teens. And then while I do that, another thing I want to do is to try to get everybody that is down here and hurt healed up. So I'm going to be cycling them into the beds one at a time. Or at least the ones that have somewhat serious injuries. Because where we're headed, you're not going to want to be hurt in any way. So Case, Chemo, and Fang are all going to jump in with Rockfin as well. Am I at the point where I could confidently defend my own settlement? No. Hell no. Not even close. Not without, like, a ridiculous amount of harpoons. Yeah, the types of attacks that you suffer are from enemies with, like, mid-30 attack. And we have teens. We have no gear. Yeah. You'll know when we're there, because I'll be building a house. Or building a town. We're not anywhere close. Alright, King, please stop putting the stuff back. It really depends on where you're going to build, though. Like, I could start a town somewhere where there isn't patrols, but I suppose I should probably explain that game mechanic a little bit. So, everybody thinks they own something. So, for instance, if you build in Shek territory, they're going to come by, this is the Shek territory, they're going to come by periodically and demand food from you. If you build in the Holy Nation territory, they're going to come by and demand prayer from you, and if you're not a human, if you aren't a Greenlander, that's going to cause you problems. They're just going to call you a heretic and try to murder you. If you build in the swamp, the swampers are going to want you to run hashish for them, smuggle, so there's really nowhere on the map tile where you can build and be left alone. There's always something. So in the Fog Islands, it's the Fog Hivers, the Fogmen. In the Cannibal Plains, it's all the cannibals, and Berserker Country, it's the Berserkers. Everywhere where you go, there's some sort of hostility. There are no empty spots. Sometimes the hostility is animals, like in the swamp it would be blood spiders, or sometimes it's the government, sometimes it's just uninhabitable entirely, like the Deadlands. I mean, what are you going to grow in the Deadlands? They're dead, right? So, for that reason, yeah, if I picked somewhere really, really easy to start a town, yeah, maybe I could survive, but it's not, it's better to wait to have a good location, because building a town from scratch takes considerable effort. So jumping the gun on it to pick somewhere easy is not always your best approach. Another thing I'm going to have King do while he's down here is let's go ahead and upgrade the cactus farm. So I have 30 cacti. So I'm going to upgrade this to Cactus XL, because I'm going to have enough cactus to do that. Just enough cactus. And then I'm going to be looking to upgrade the wheat farm and the hemp farm similarly once I have the resources to do so. Maximizing the farm yield. And I have a location in mind. I said this earlier in the stream, that I have a location in mind that is both a pretty decent spot and also makes sense for Shek roleplay. Alright, I'm going to try to play on ×3 speed to speed up the healing here, but as you can see, the process of healing is a little bit faster now. And there we go. King has made the XL farm, and just to make sure, yeah, Rain is set up to take care of the XL farm. But I can actually have Kang just stack some water in there preemptively if I want, and do that on the other farms as well. This is a nice little trick, because farmers won't actually put a lot of water into the farms, but you can stick a lot of water in the farms so that it's there when you need it. Oh, the Yoda streamer cam was purchased, but it's not working. Odd. Here, let me reboot that software. Buddy, you're up. Oh, the begrudging look of, did you just shake me? I did indeed just shake you. Alright, Els. He's another one that needs healing, and I think that's all. Everybody else is in roughly fine shape. So let me throw Els onto the bed. Alright, now the Yoda cams should be working. You're getting a new puppy today. Congratulations. Alright, I think I'm going to have Kang haul some of this fish up to the people up top. And then what I'm going to want to start to do is to have Trapper Keeper's blades handed out to everybody. So oh, here's another Cat 1 blade. It's real good. I need a hemp storage. Do I? Let's check on that. I do. Cactus, wheat straw, food. No hemp. Game will do that in just a minute. Once he's done running his errands. He's been my my errand man. Alright, so King, let's get you to start delivering blades. Trapper Keeper, I'm going to even have you ditch the 2 blades that were on you. And we'll hand these out. And then I grab the bolts that I got from the Dust Bandits Bowman. And I'm going to give that to Headshot. Only having one person in the entire group that uses crossbows makes that a lot easier. Fully, thanks for the resub. You got Kenshi for yourself? Awesome. I think I'm going to be giving away a copy of Kenshi in my next game giveaway, too. So, got that to look forward to. Alright, let's get Els back on training the lockpicking so that we can start to do the fun, high-tech stuff. That's going to take a bit. It's not a really fast process, but let's start handing out these weapons. I think I'm going to start just sort of alphabetically. But reverse alphabetically. Because everybody that has had a first or last name that starts with Z, not that there's many of you, probably is like, oh man, alphabetical sucks. So always reverse it up every now and then. So here is Headshot's bolts, and I'm not going to bother giving her like a nice katana because she should be mostly shooting. Jacobot, you are going to get the first katana. And there was a puppy treat. You got it. Thanks for the reminder. So we will give you the Cat 1 katana and take the crummy one. Next up would be Cowley, Dr. Cowley. Given his employment, he should probably have a wakizashi. You know, smaller, sharper blade. Well, maybe not sharper, but smaller. Alright, Cowley. So here's Cowley's Cat 1 blade. And then these here have a cutting damage of 7.3, which is higher than these. Actually, the bottom one here is ridiculously bad condition. So then that is going to go to Els and Fully. So Els is up top training his lockpick. So let's give it to Fully, who is mining away here. Now we are going to be changing weapon classes, as you can see. Going from a horse chopper, which is a saber class, to... Actually, Fully, you said you wanted sabers, right? Let me, Yeah, you said you wanted sabers, so I'm going to leave you with a saber. So we're skipping over you. I will, at some point, make a better saber for you. So then, C's and Chemo and L's are all up top. So let's get them handed out. And if you're wondering how I knew he wanted sabers, he told me, here's the roster. I don't have that kind of memory to keep everybody like a whole board of chess in my head. Yeah, no. Not my talent. Not even close. So let's give this to Els. He had a Nadachi, I believe. Yeah, he had previously a Nadachi. He's going to take a katana instead. There's nothing wrong inherently with a Nadachi, but it does suffer some indoor penalties. And yeah, I'd rather have him have a katana just to make it universal. And then Case up top. Give you this one. And this ring saber is actually better than Fully's ring saber, so I'm going to hand that over to Fully. Are you guys all healed up? Yeah, they're close enough. So by the time that Els finishes his lockpick training, we should have everybody, or close to everybody, with better weapons than they had previously. That's at least the hope. I think Trapper Keeper made yet another. Here it is. And it's going to go to chemo. Taking a look at my research, let's go with... There's a lot of good research here that I could grab. I think we'll go with mounted crossbows on this one. It's not something I'm going to be using really probably anytime soon, but it's okay. So there's Chemo's sword, and fully you'll take the best. So ring saber, that is better than what you currently have. Get that upgrade for you. And then let's get the hemp box. That sounds funny, but let's get the hemp farm container. All right. What are you trying to hand off? Oh, the building material. Okay. She even... No, she's not even trying to take care of the hemp farm. Thank you for watching Shek's Conquest, which originally streamed live on Twitch October 29th. If you have any feedback for me or questions of any type, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. Thank you so very much to my Twitch subscribers and Patreon patrons for supporting the channel, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and catch the next one or an upcoming stream. Farewell, everybody.